Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer 2. Thank you for tuning into this video. So most of us understand, right? We know that the dollar isn't worth much anymore. Countries are opting out using the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, and the dollar is in bad shape. And this is scary because since the dollar has no backing, nothing backing its price like gold used to be once upon a time, it can completely fail. The system can completely fail. Fiat currency is completely speculative, meaning the dollar's worth as much as people think it is. So, for instance, if people think the dollar is worth a lot, then the dollar is strong. When people lose faith in the dollar and realize how broke we are, then you can see how the system can and is falling. This article not only explains why precious metals are a great alternative, but also how there could be a new monetary plan in place. The system could change financially forever. There will be no more US dollars. And this is something that's happening a lot sooner than I think people realize. So before we start, make sure to smash that like button. If you are interested into precious metals or you want to learn about gold and silver, I have a main channel. The link is in the description. It's Silver Slayer. We just hit 30,000 subscribers. So you definitely want to stay up to date and really educate yourself on that. Because earlier I mentioned how gold and silver is the only alternative. And I use that word alternative because there is no solution. We are too deep in the hole to dig ourselves out. Something has to change, and it's definitely going to be a huge change. So that's a little backstory. That's I just wanted to summarize and give a quick introduction before we dive into this article, because it is more serious than a lot of people will even admit. So since the 1930s, the US dollar has lost 99% of its value against gold. Other reserve currencies such as the British pound and Japanese yen have done even worse. In my view, the price of gold will continue to rise and will be incorporated in a new international monetary system. So he's saying that gold is going to be used in a new system. And since precious metals have been used as a exchangeable form of money for over 5,000 years, it doesn't surprise me that it's going to be in the future of our money as well. The spot gold price crossed $2,067 per troy ounce today, another all-time high. Since the 1930s, the US dollar has lost 99% of its value against gold. A world reserve currency is supposed to be superior in storing value, but through boundless money printing, the US dollar hasn't been able to compete with gold by a long shot. In 1932, the gold price was $20.67 per troy ounce. Today, it crossed $2,067. So things have changed. A lot has changed. That's a 99% decline in the value of the dollar against gold. So what happened? Well, in the 30s, FDR changed the gold to silver ratio from 16-1 to 75-1. That's the start. There's a lot more that's happened we can talk about. So other reserve currencies such as the British pound and Japanese yen have done even worse. The yen has lost 99.98% of its value against gold in 100 years. Note the chart below has a log scale. You can literally see this. Fiat currencies versus gold since 1900. You could see gold holds its value. It's like putting your money in a time capsule. You're preserving your money against inflation. As the dollars deflate, you put your money or transfer your money into gold and silver so they can hold their value as the dollar loses its value. So gold doesn't yield if you don't lend it, but it's the only globally accepted financial asset without counterparty risk. Because of its immutable properties, gold sustained its role as the sun in our monetary cosmos after gold standard was abandoned in 1971. Central banks around the world kept holding on to their gold despite its price reaching all-time highs such as now. This is due to the Gresham's law, which states bad money drives out good. If the price of gold rises, central banks are more inclined to hoard gold, good money, and spend currency that declines in value, that's bad money. In the chart below, you can see that gold's purchasing power is remarkably stable. As the gold price rises through time, it mainly compensates for fiat currencies being devalued versus goods and services. In other words, the price of gold goes up by the same amount that consumer price rises. Gold even shows a tendency of increasing in purchasing power, which might reveal inflation numbers published by governments are too low. Another theory is that sound money, like gold, should rise in purchasing power as technological developments make good increasing cheaper to produce, which is also true. You got to think about, as we develop technologically in the world, it's also going to make things are going to be adjusting, changing with the times, which could make precious metals even more accessible and easier and more convenient. So you might think that dollars with interest, for example, U.S. government bonds, treasuries, would have outperformed gold since the gold standard was abandoned in 1971, but this isn't true. Gold has performed better than treasuries. So here's gold's performance compared to other financial assets. So a lot of people are just miseducated and don't really, they try to, what's the word? They try to overlook, misrepresent, they try to sweep precious metals under the rug, and this is because gold is a direct threat to the US dollar. It's a direct threat to the US dollar. If you are in debt, you're a slave to the system. It's a power move. It's all about control. That's why they're going to push student loans on you. That's why they're going to push all of these different things to put you in debt so they can control you. Gold and silver is getting out of that. You're freeing yourself. That's also why they're going to push stock markets, because stock markets are still pegged to the US dollar. In my view, the gold price will continue to rise and will be incorporated in a new international monetary system. The current all-time high in dollar or euro terms is just nominal measure. When taking into account inflation, gold is not at an all-time high. More importantly, I'm expecting central banks to debase their currencies way more in the years ahead because the world has never been this much in debt. The US alone is around $27 trillion in debt. You can go to usdebtclock.org and see a live counter. Trust me, that counter is never going down. It's always going up. The debt levels around the world are completely unsustainable and can only be lowered through debt relief or inflation. The Federal Reserve and other central banks are communicating they choose inflation. A few months ago, the president of the European Central Bank, Lagarde, said we should be happier to have a job than to have our savings protected. That is a clear admission that, in this case, Euro savings will be wiped out. So lowering the debt burden through inflation is the most expedient, least well understood, and most common big way of restructuring debts. It has been done many times before in history, and it'll be done again. So owning physical gold stored outside of the banking system offers protection of your purchasing power from currency debasement. And that's why, another reason why it's so important to have precious metals, because if a currency is debased, then that currency no longer holds value. Gold and silver will always hold value. It always has for over 5,000 years, and nothing's going to change. So after the Second World War, the US government capped interest rates at a very low level while boosting inflation. The results were deeply negative real interest rates, nominal rates minus inflation. So I hope that this article really sheds some light on the possibilities that the future holds, but also the reality. Like I said earlier, a lot of people aren't ready to admit that our financial system is collapsing. A lot of people aren't ready to face that, to acknowledge that. They would rather live in this cushioned bubble, pretending like everything's okay, pretending that everything is going to work out, like out of sight, out of mind. That's not how this works. Out of sight does not mean it's not going to happen. It just means you're not preparing for it, and when it does happen, you're going to be even more screwed. You need to be prepared. You need to take a stand and secure yourself financially, and gold and silver is the only alternative. Remember, I use the word alternative. I do like how this article mentions the technological era and how times are changing. Times are definitely changing, but I still think that money it's going to be digital. There is going to be no more paper floating around. It's going to be from a digital standpoint, whether it's like Bitcoin, which uses, a decentralized blockchain type of platform. It's going to be interesting, but I definitely know it's not going to be the way it is today. Fiat currency was designed to fail. It's a system literally based off of a failed design. Think about that. Think about how it would work. It can't work anymore. As soon as we got rid of the gold standard, we were literally signing up for failure. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did find this video enjoyable, educational, or entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. Go check out my main channel, Silver Slayer, if you want more info in the world of precious metals. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer 2. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.